Oke.
Udah, Theo?
Udah.
Oke.
Oke, terima kasih semuanya telah hadir malam ini di acara Retreat Online bersama OMKBKCU. Saya Romo Stefanus Hendrianto atau biasa dipanggil Romo Hendri. Saya anggota Serikat Yesus, Ordo Serikat Yesus. Tahun ini saya bertugas di Northern California. Oke, langsung saja. I will give a short lecture on the movie so we can have a better discussion and understandings why that I picked this movie as the intro for this retreat. There's things that we call this Cinema Divina, so it's hoping this is helping us to reflect on this movie, and there's good introductions for next 2 days for the retreat, all right? So this movie was directed by Krzysztof Kiełowski, who was born in 1949 and died in 1996. Some of you are not even born yet, 96 maybe, but that's fine. Things that, so Kieślowski was famous, was first his mini-series in Poland called Decalogue, jadi 10 Perintah Allah. Jadi ada 10 mini-series tentang masing-masing commandment, seperti itu. Itu tahun 89, premiere in December 1st. The same time, there's a month before, there's the fall of Berlin Wall, the end of communism. Just give you the context, yeah? That's about the Decalogue.
Is he Catholic?
Sorry?
Is he Catholic?
He grew up Catholic, yeah. So this is just a snippet, okay? So this is about like movie about killing, which is about 5th commandment, and about love, which is, the 6th commandment. This is about adultery, all right? Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not adultery. So what happened here is that the theme is that mystery versus mastery, okay? So there's things that about killing is about 10 people trying to control, means that have a destiny of other people's life. Similarly, with sexual revolutions, then people want to have to mastery over people's life. So there's no sense of mystery anymore about love, something like that. That's the theme that he want to play here. Okay, that jadi earlier today ada sedikit diskusi dengan panitia. Let's say that shall we give it or not to the peserta? That's about the material. For example, I say that maybe just give it later, during the day instead of enough time, because we just have a sense of mystery here. Of course, we living in the 21st century today is that we tend to have things that want to have to know something, to have a control over the material or something like that, not ahead of times. But I think sometimes we need to have a sense of mystery. Okay, just this is a side story. Okay, so then 1989 to 1991, he made a movie that the Double Life of Veronica, the Double Life of Veronica. This is the things that if you have seen the movie Lost in Translations, you can understand this better. So Double Life of Veronica, Double Life of Veronique, this is transitions from his mother tongue in Poland, and the father tongue, which is his second foreign language, which is the things that English in the West. So this is kind of, the transitions that in this movie. So then, 1994, he made this movie. This mostly movie in French. I will explain later why. This again, transition from mother tongue, which is the things that you look at the picture on the left, which is I think the Black Madonna. That's the Christian tradition, so the Catholic here. And then to the West, which is I think very secularized society. That's the contrast here. So you look here, I think this is his short career, okay? 89, Decalogue, 91 is Double Life of Veronica, 1993, 94, this is the Three Colors movie, and he died in 96. By the time he preparing a new trilogy, Heaven, Hell, and Purgatory, but he never finished that movie. Okay, this is based on the French flag, liberty, equality, and fraternity, but he tried to give a new meanings of this, color, blue, white, and red. So not simply liberty, equality, and fraternity. You will see that why that what's the theme, the different themes in these three movies. Just a short, introduction. This is the first movie, Blue. Jadi di situ the theme is the tragedy of surviving. There's something transcendental. Dari skor itu sebenarnya skor yang dia tulis based on the First Corinthians 13, which is means that the message of love dari Saint Paul. So that's what he wrote in the scores, musical score. They become the musical background here. So tragedy of surviving, something transcendental and transformation. Okay, this is the first movie. This is the second movie, White. So masih ada similar themes as transformations after his experience humiliation, but this time there's a revenge, beautiful revenge. Nah, ini tadi yang kita lihat. Oke. Jadi itu sedikit background tiga movie itu ya. So the last one, this is about interconnectedness of all things. Sebetulnya dia cerita tentang providence ini, God's providence. Jadi Tuhan yang mengatur semuanya begitu detail seperti ini. That's Agus dan Valentine tidak pernah ketemu sama sekali di situ sama kadang, tapi that's somehow they feel that connected. I will explain that later. Okay. This movie was created 1994. Okay, so kalau yang suka mengamati movie dan tahu ini the movie culture, you know that the same year Quentin Tarantino created the movie The Pulp Fiction. Meskipun kalian belum lahir, mungkin sebagian besar sudah pernah nonton Pulp Fiction. Okay, so what is make these two movies very different? Okay, if you know that Quentin Tarantino the same genre, that's his movie Pulp Fiction. Later on, that this movie, I think that some of you already growing up, you see that Inglourious Bastard or Django, they all the same genre. It's about violence, about nihilisms, something like that. But in comparisons, Red is about interconnections, but that movie is about disconnection between the people. Okay? And more importantly, this is about mystery. And then it's about mastery, because there's a lot of killing that's in Pulp Fiction. You can see that how that people they want to control even other people's life. Then this is the theme that I want to focus tonight. I think that in the Pulp Fiction is full of ugly reality and terror movie. I think that from beginning to the end. But here I think that in the Red movie that we watched tonight, there's a collision of beauty and ugly reality. You see that some ugly reality, but there's some beauty in all of that. So there's collision between beauty and ugly reality. So initially that I used that as the themes. Panitia langsung search internet, cari movie judulnya collision between beauty and terror, tidak ketemu. Ya memang tidak ketemu. Because they're not the real title, but this is only the theme that I want to focus. Okay, a collision between the beauty and ugly reality. But before to that, I think I just want to look here. I think that something important is about leitmotifs. Bagi yang paham musik, prima atau lainnya tentu tahu mungkin leitmotif ini is invented by Wagner begitu. Untuk jelasnya nanti akan dijelaskan begitu mengapa ada genre yang namanya leitmotif seperti ini. Ini penting untuk mengerti movie ini.
One of the unique things about this epic masterpiece that Wagner created was leitmotifs. That was a completely new concept, and a concept that you find in the music in Star Wars and the music in Lord of the Rings, where basically one musical theme is assigned to one character or one event. So when you hear that musical theme, you expect to see that character on stage. That was a completely new concept on this scale. It's permeated our society in such amazing ways. I was a fan of Star Wars since the first one that opened. One of the first things that hit me at the time, since I had just discovered Wagner's Ring, was the fact that everyone did have a leitmotif, and that's straight from Wagner's playbook.
He uses different melodies to depict either a person or a thing, like for instance, there's a sword motif and a spear motif. Brunhilde has a motif. That particular melody comes back over and over again when that person or thing comes back into the mix. This is the ring motif in Das Rheingold.
Okay, so the leitmotif ini, the Power of the Ring, ini yang merupakan inspirasi bagi Tolkien kemudian untuk menulis The Lord of the Rings sebetulnya. Bagi yang ingin tahu sedikit itu, bahwa ketika dia mendengar itu the opera by Wagner, that give inspiration for him later on to write the famous Lord of the Ring trilogy. But why I'm using this in order to understand what happened in the movie, okay?
One of the unique.
Hold on. Okay, jadi Van den Boedenmeijer is Wagnerian leitmotif di sini. Yang jadi to show the sense of mystery in the movie. Okay, he used that also in the Double Life of Veronica, and here, okay, Coba sekali lagi ya. So di sini, this is the scene where I think that the judge and Valentine. So that Van Bundemeyer in the background. This is things that the piringan hitam, that's begitu. Let's see again. I think that. So that's Van Bundemeyer in the background. Okay. So then we will see. Here, there's the.
Bonjour, je voudrais le 432 Vanden Bodenmeier. C'est comme ça que ça se prononce?
Oui, c'est ça. Celui-là?
Oui.
J'ai vendu le dernier à l'instant.
Oke, kalau kalian melihat di situ pertama tadi dia Agas dan girlfriendnya di belakang, tapi dia tidak pernah tahu, tidak pernah ketemu meskipun dekat. And then second contrast it with another person that who show the loud music, more metal, rock music, something like that. They show the contrast between these two genre. And again, comparisons between this movie with Pulp Fiction, as you can see that also in that scene. There's another one here. So jadi dia menggunakan ini to show the sense of mystery, especially in the few main characters. Okay. Sekarang ini ya, why that we say there's two themes here: collision of ugly reality and the beauty, and the full of ugly reality and terror only in the Pulp Fiction. In this movie, there's two collide together. Okay, in between beauty and terror, there's always there. Billboard ini kalau yang ini saya coba tidak ketemu gambarnya. If you see that from the big scene, the meaning in French thinks that in every circumstances there's a freshness of life. In every circumstance there's a freshness of life. That's the message. Because why that we can see even in the midst of tragedy, there's always freshness of life. There's a collision between beauty and terror itu di situ. Okay, so he said that I feel something important is happening around me. It scares me. There's some mystery here. Same here, I think that. Okay, here. To understand this, you have to look at this different movie. This by Terrence Malick in 1973. I was not even born yet. But I think that important about this movie, this is a same genre. Okay, jadi ceritanya di sini adalah that's dua orang yang pacaran, tapi her father did not approve the relationships. So the boyfriend killed the fathers, of the girlfriend, and they ran away. This is very dark, but also some beauty in that. Although in the end, this man was caught and captured, and then this young lady later on, he found the true love from the son of the attorney. So that's a little bit again the happy ending some ways. 1973, in this time that I think that the Roe v. Wade decision on abortion was issued also the same year. That's the context again how that we can see this movie. Okay. The point is that I think that if you look at the Romans 6:3-4, St. Paul said, do you know that those of us who are baptized into Christ, Jesus, were baptized into his death? Therefore, we were buried together with him through baptisms into death. Baptisms yang kita semua sudah alami, itu berarti kita dibaptis dalam kematian dengan Kristus. The death of Christ, which is mean the cross. There's suffering, and there's ugliness, and there's blood there. So in the sense that you're baptized into the suffering. So when you baptize into Christ Jesus, okay? There's something beautiful here in baptism. So you see the picture here, right? Baby will baptize, something beautiful, but there you cannot escape the suffering and you cannot escape the terror what happened with your son as much as you try to protect him or her. This will be part of life. It's part of tragedy in some way or another. Then it means that when you're baptized in some ways that you have signed a contract, so that taken a contract, that your life will be part of it, will be suffering. But of course, I think there's grace who will strengthen us. So baptism is beautiful, but the time that you agree to be baptize your children, that's also there will be some terror and sufferings, that part of life, a part of your child, something like that. Of course, there's some grace, also a moment of grace. So that's the message behind that. And if you look, things that this all the themes of this movie. She said that I want my life to be peaceful. Okay, but we know that in this life there's always sometimes you have some peace, but there's always trial and tribulation in this life. Either that you're in marriage life or religious life or single life, you cannot escape that, trial and tribulations. So in the end, the beauty of this movie is that they meet together, and he's implied that they have relationship in the shipwreck. So in every circumstances, including shipwreck, the freshness of living is there. Jadi meskipun dalam tragedi seperti itu, mereka berdua bisa bertemu pada akhirnya. Jadi that's something that that you can pick with your message. That's I think that we can start this retreat with that. I think that's something for us to reflect and about our life, about what you're longing, about your desire. Seperti itu. There's still hope in the midst of that. Bagi yang mungkin masih mencari pacar, atau mungkin sedang ada segala trial and tribulation in your life, that to believe that behind the terror or trial and tribulation, there's also beauty, because in every circumstances, there's always freshness of living.
Thank you, Romo.
Okay, yeah.
Stop your recording, ya.